Hello everyone and welcome to CryptoRed, the channel for crypto news. Today we're diving into Trump and one of his companies that plans to buy $6 billion worth of crypto project. I'm also going to talk about Crypto.com, which according to ZachXBT have been hacked in the past. We'll hit a bunch of other topics too, including Eclipse, Hyperliquid. I've got a lot to cover and we'll start with the price. Right now, Bitcoin is around $110,000. Ether is about $4,500, down 3%. By the way, I like the new coin 360 beta. It's pretty solid. Most cryptocurrencies are in the red. In a minute, I'll get to a project that's actually up. But first, let's take a look at this tweet from James Seyffart at Bloomberg, showing who hold the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Holdings are spread across a bunch of investor type, registered investment advisor, hedge funds, and so on. But that breakdown only covers 25% of BTC ETFs investors, which implies that about 75% of BTC ETF buyers are retail, not institution. Honestly, I thought it was the opposite, that institution made up a bigger slice of a BTC ETF. But no, it looks like retail is the majority here. That's pretty striking, and it's encouraging to see retail buying BTF ETC in size. Now, let's see whether those flows rotate into the next altcoins ETF expected to arrive soon. Next, some good news for Hyperliquid. They've announced a major change, boosting buybacks from 97% of fees of Hyperliquid to 99% of the fees. They're trimming the portion that previously went to HLP Vault, so more of the platform's fees will be used to buy back the Hyperliquid token, HYPE. That's a clear positive for the token in my view, and this project is kind of wild. There are around 10 people only working on Hyperliquid, and they managed to build something incredible that is really at the same level as centralized exchange. Let's talk ETFs again. Bitwise just failed to launch a Chainlink ETF. We're hearing more and more about potential altcoins ETF, but so far only BTC and ETF have approval in the US. Solana's deadline is in October, so a lot of people think something could land by then. I'm convinced we'll eventually get more approval, but I personally think the enthusiasm for altcoins ETF will be much lower than for BTC and ETH. That's my take. On to strategy or MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor, strategy chief, didn't stick to a promise the company made during their Q2 2025 results. They had said they wouldn't issue new shares to buy more Bitcoin unless the MNAV, an internal multiple comparing assets under management to the total market cap, was above 2 to 2.5. Right now, that indicator is around 1.59, and yet Strategy still issued equity and bought roughly $300 million worth of BTC. That's supportive for BTC price because it creates steady demand, but it's not great for MicroStrategy shareholders who worry about ongoing dilution to fund BTC purchase. It's been MicroStrategy playbook from the start, and I think it will continue. Over the long term, it does let MicroStrategy keep stacking a lot of BTC. Now, the one crypto that pumped today. Do you know which one is it? It's Cronos, Crow. Crypto.com's token is up around 25% in 24 hours. Why? Trump Media just announced the creation of a company that plans to buy $6.4 billion worth of Crow. Cronos, the token of Crypto.com. That's massive. Look into the details. It appears to be a newly formed entity in partnership with Donald Trump's company, along with Crypto.com and a couple of other parties. We'll keep an eye on how that structures comes together, but for now, that's the headline behind Scroll big move. For now, there will be $1 billion worth of Crow involved. In total, we're talking about $6 billion, as I said, and they will be contributed by Crypto.com. That's about 90% of the entire Crypto.com Crow supply. You can see it here. We're talking about $6 billion, and on CoinGecko, there are roughly 33 billion tokens in circulation today. That's a huge amount. Where do these tokens come from? From Crypto.com, which we know holds a lot of Crow. There will also be $200 million in cash, likely coming from Trump Media, though we don't have the details. All of this, just my reading of the press release, but it already sent Crow's price jumping. There's also an announcement that Trump Media, and more specifically Donald Trump's social network, Truth Social, will use the Crow token on its platform, which would give Crow even more utility. Still, I'm genuinely puzzled by how many tokens Crypto.com is contributing. Where are they coming from exactly? Do you remember that massive inflation event created by Crypto.com when they reminted token that had previously been burned? It was wild. If I recall correctly, it was something like 70% of the supply. The amount that got unburned was enormous. They recreated the tokens that had been destroyed in the past. It wouldn't be the first time with Crypto.com. They've done things that weren't very clean, that were a little bit shady. Remember their first token, Monaco Coin, and then the migration to Crow? There was heavy dilution during the process, and now it's almost as if Crow were being publicly listed. Crow that Crypto.com might have been selling can be assigned to a publicly traded company, giving fast liquidity to people invested in the project. That could enable simple liquidity, over-the-counter blocks to buy large amount of shares. Lots of things could happen. Yes, there's a lockup in the first year. Neither Trump Media nor Crypto.com are allowed to sell tokens. After that, there's a 3-year gradual unlock. But honestly, this Crypto.com Trump Media announcement is strange to me, and I don't like it. From my perspective, it looks like another way to sell Crow into the market. On top of that, ZachXBT just said something shocking. He dropped a bombshell. ZachXBT is really known in the crypto sphere. He's a well-known figure in crypto, a specialist in hack analysis, fraud tracking, and on-chain forensics. He said Crypto.com had a massive incident. He didn't explicitly say security, but that's the clear implication here: a hack that was covered up and never made public. My reading of his tweet, and he said he can't share more details yet, is that Crypto.com was hacked and they managed to keep it quiet because they could cover the loss with their own funds. That has happened to other platforms before, but usually there's communication. Bybit, for instance, was hacked and disclosed it. Here, Crypto.com allegedly never communicated about the incident. That lack of transparency is worrying for an exchange. At minimum, they should say what happened. We were hacked, we can cover it, customers are safe. Bybit is still around in the end. That wasn't a problem for them, and it actually showed financial strength. Yes, we were hacked, it happens, we covered the loss. Crypto.com didn't do that, according to ZachXBT. So yeah, he's a reliable source for me. He's working from one of the biggest funds, Paradigm. So yeah, he's really credible. So that's the Donald Trump is buying billions angle. Once more clarification. For now, it's only 1 billion worth of Crow that will actually be contributed. The rest is a 5 billion credit line, meaning they can borrow up to $5 billion to buy Crow token. So what does actually mean in practice? There will only be about 1 billion worth of Crow token when the company is launched, not $5 billion. So that's not exactly the same. Next, Eclipse, the Ethereum L2 that uses the Solana virtual machine. They did their TG a few months ago, and now they've just laid off 65% of their employees. They changed the CEO and shifted direction. Up to now, they were an L2, a blockchain. Now they're saying they'll focus on building actual killer apps to massively grow the ecosystem. For example, they might build the equivalent of a pump.fun to attract lots of users and push people to use the Eclipse chain. We're starting to see more projects where the CEO or founder leaves just a month after the token launches. Eclipse token launch clearly didn't land well, and they're pivoting because something has to change. Then Aave dropped. Why? Rumors say the World Liberty financial deals either doesn't exist as we thought or isn't what people expected. What we've been told about Aave was that they would receive 7% of the total supply of all World Liberty financial tokens. That's huge. We're talking about a token potentially valued at $40 billion. But World Liberty Financial said, no, that's not the case. Personally, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Yes, Aave may be able to receive up to 7% of the token, but not straight into its treasury. It would more likely be set aside as incentive to develop the World Liberty financial ecosystem or similar goals. That's where the uncertainty lies. How exactly those tokens would be used by Aave? Is it purely to incentivize the usage of the World Liberty Financial Protocol or something else? We don't know yet. I haven't seen further clarification from Aave side or Mark Zeller on this. But remember, World Liberty Financial is built on Aave's code. And the understanding was 7% of token allocated to Aave and 20% of World Liberty Financial revenues going to Aave. They structured it that way because they used Aave v3 code, which is under a business license, You can't just use the protocol without license. The code is visible, but not everyone has the right to use it. If you're sure, yeah, that's what I wanted to share today across the latest crypto headlines. I hope you enjoyed the update. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for more. Take care. Bye.